Hustle with my muscle cause I'm living off the dollar. Struggle in my huddle so it's Henny or it's vodka. Life is catching up though so we living how we gotta. Stay low key, you know me the same old way I used to be. I stay low key, you know me. I stay on my grind to distract my mind.
Welcome back to If You Don't Mind with Liam Dalton. I'm your host, Liam Dalton. If you don't mind, today I am joined by my good friend, Aaron McCann.
Hello, how are we?
Welcome
First
back.
guest, first repeat guest. I'm unlocking all the Liam Dalton accolades.
First lay.
First lay.
Thank you
Naples
for
was
that.
fun.
The lost episode.
Chris is here, of course. Stromboli. The lost episode. There's a lost. Did he tell you about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we recorded an episode last week that probably won't come out.
You should do like a Patreon tier where it's like $200 and then they get access to the lost episode.
We got to really juice it up so that people will actually pay the $200.
Yeah, and then they'll be so disappointed.
$200
That's
for
not
a
juicing
wee
it up.
secret. I would do that.
Yeah.
You know, if I had like a podcast I supported and they were like, we recorded this episode, but we definitely can't release it. But for $200 you could listen to it, I would do it just for the gossip.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Wu-Tang album.
Yes. But then the guy, what do you call the fucker that bought that?
Oh,
Martin Shkreli.
Yeah.
Martin Shkreli, yeah.
What was this whole
My
fuck-
hero.
Of course you know his name right away. He's got his picture
pals.
on his wall. Martin Shkreli. What was his name? Farmer Bro. That was his nickname.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what-
Pharma, bro. I think you
Farmer.
said farmer, bro. I was like, I don't think he gives me farmer
Nah,
vibes.
Farmer, bro.
Straight
That's
out
my
of
special name. And I don't mean like Netflix. I mean like that's what my mother calls me. I mean
Man.
special name.
Speaking of Patreon, me and Grace this weekend were talking about how we both did your podcast. And because we were talking about comments. And she's like, yeah, I know. I always read all the comments. It sucks. And I was like, I don't get the comments that you get. Like, I don't get that amount. But, like, they drive me crazy, the little amount I do get. And I almost paid for Aaron's Patreon just to read the comments on the episode I did. And she was like, that's crazy. I paid for it. she was like, I 100% did that. And then she was like, there were only like a couple comments and they were fine. And I was like, give me that fucking Patreon. And so I was in Charleston this weekend just reading all the comments from that episode I did of your podcast.
And everyone loved you.
They were mostly good. There was like one older woman that was like, yeah, he's no Colin Geddes, but it's fine. And then my favorite though is that there were a couple compliments that were like, I was very skeptical at first. I did not expect anything good to be out of this, but he was pretty good.
Yes.
There was a lot of that.
Well, yeah, we're the kings and queens of backhand compliments. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like we compliment you, but in a way where it doesn't feel like it.
Mhm.
It's too much like emotional labor to actually like build someone up. You know?
Yeah, and if an Irish person is just straight up complimenting you, they don't mean it.
Oh, they're trying to sell you something. You know?
Or they're being completely sarcastic. And if you're American, you probably won't even know.
Yeah. Like if an Irish person says to you, great hairdo, man, you're like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I still have a scar from when I just stopped rapping and I was just started doing comedy. And anytime anyone would be like, yo, spit a verse right now, just to fuck with them, I just do off the top and just make it stupid and usually a little gay.
Yeah.
And I was going to the Katie Taylor fight at the Garden, and there were these like older Irish guys that were like, oh, you're Dalton, right? Yeah. I've seen on Facebook you do the rapping. And then she was like, some girl he was like, is he really a rapper? And then he was like, yeah, rap. And they all took out their phones, and I spit the worst freestyle ever.
Damn.
And they were one of the girls puts her phone away and goes, I thought he was actually a rapper. And then the older guy who first recognized me went, good attempt though, lad. And I was like, ooh.
What's worse, people asking you to freestyle or to do a joke?
I feel like a joke is more condescending.
Joke's more condescending. Yeah, joke's more condescending, but someone telling you to do a wee rap for me there, mate.
Yeah.
That would feel like shite too.
Because a joke, someone might come up to you and tell a joke at a bar.
Yeah.
No one's coming up to you. No old Irish guys coming up and spitting a verse.
Spit the bar there, would you? Some sort of rapper fella, yeah.
I guess that is worse too. I don't know. Because, you're going to rap for us? That was always the thing.
Yeah.
But now it's like, you're going to do one of your little ha-has?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that's the thing is like we are such a self-loathing country that like none of us have any confidence, which is actually perfect for entertainment.
It's perfect for comedy.
It is.
Yeah.
Because the second that you feel like you are like good or like the shit,
Mhm.
that's a tough fall from grace.
Yeah.
Really tough.
And that's tough in comedy. Like anytime people get too cool in comedy, it's
Yeah,
rough.
shouldn't be cool. We're
Yeah.
jesters. We
Yeah.
perform to people eating buffalo chicken wings. Dude, I did a show at okay, I wonder should I say? Okay, I will say. I did a show in the Woodlawn the other day.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Oh my god, dude. One of the worst gigs I've ever done. Right? And it was like, it's Little Ireland, so it's like fucking, you go into a shop, I ordered like a BLT. Woman behind the counter goes, "Do you want American or Irish bacon?" And I was like, oh my god, if this was a thing everywhere, I'd be so happy. I was like, Irish bacon. And they're selling like Tato and tea cakes and all this shit. But the bar itself was like, the show was going on, right? But it was like in the corner. And then there was like a table in front of like 3 old people, all geriatric. And then it was just the bar, right? So it was just literally people at the bar drinking, bartender serving away, no problem. I walk in, so it's like the windows are open, and I walk in, and it's the host is on stage, and the host, very funny comic, but this is like an impossible room.
Yeah.
So there's this guy at the bar by himself, old Irishman. I can tell by his like raspberry nose, and he's just sitting there drinking a pint of stout by himself. And 2 minutes into the host set, he goes, "Would you shut the fuck up, would you?" Right? And then, God love him, he's just like, and then said something like, "Oh, it's just jokes, mate," or whatever. And then he goes, "Fucking up there, telling your life story, like anyone gives a fuck."
Oh.
And I was like, it's like looking at, the mafia films where they watch the person in front of them get their fucking, like, dick blown off.
Yeah.
That's how I felt watching this. I was like, I'm up next here, like.
Oh man.
And then I go up, and I just basically reference the fact that no one wants to be there. And then they
Yeah.
laughed at that. And then I said something else, and the guy goes, "Can I just say?" And I was like, "No, you can't." And he goes, "Can I just say? Just one thing. I just want to say one thing." And I was like, "I go on ahead then." And he goes, "You're doing a great job." And I was like, what kind of fucking dramatic character shift did you have? Did someone give you mushrooms or something?
That's the worst part, though, is that the first thing he said, that kind of pulls strings because you're like, they don't want to be here. This isn't their fault either.
Yeah.
They didn't know there's a comedy show. They're just at the bar.
Yeah.
So part of you does kind of like resonate with that.
It is so funny how like some of the shows here will just be like, how can we make it as uncomfortable for both the performer and the audience as possible?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. How can we like make people really have to dig themselves out of a hole just to have fun?
And like I empathize with the audience.
That's what I'm saying.
Like if I went to a bar and I was sitting there having a drink and then some guy's on stage and he's like, "So I was at Petco the other day." I'd be like, fuck this guy.
yeah. Who cares about your pet?
Yeah.
Also, that's like a direct insecurity of mine is exactly what that guy said. Like anytime I'm going into like a personal story, I'm like way more in my head about it than if it's just kind of like a observational joke. Because in my head, I'm like, who cares about my life story? And then this guy's like, up there telling your life story. It's like, oh no, he's on to me.
Yeah, but let's break it down here. You want to talk about his life story?
Yeah, that's true. It was like no one wants to hear your life story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why, like, you just love to, like, drop a nuke on someone like that. You know what I mean?
By the way, he's probably 3 drinks in gonna tell his life story to a female bartender that doesn't want to hear any of it.
Yeah.
So, who's...
But then it was so funny because I stood outside. I stood outside the Irish deli, and this fucking, like, white car pulls up, like, speeding down and then, like, screeches a halt. And the guy rolls on the window and goes, "Aaron McCann, lad!" And I was like, oh, fuck me. And by the way, I'm sitting eating a BLT, like, in the street beside the bin, like Chipotle mayo dripping down my chin. And he just goes, "Aaron McCann, lad!" He goes, "I love the podcast." And I was like, "Oh, cheers, mate. Thank you very much." And then he goes, "Are you doing any shows?" And I was like, "Nope."
Absolutely not.
The bar was right there. I was like, "No, I can't get booked here, mate. They don't fuck with it at all."
Yeah, there's some crazy guy telling his life story in there. That's great. That's a great juxtaposition of like, you get recognized, it's like you're doing well, and then you have to do some crazy environment show of just like people don't want to hear you at all.
Well, do you know what I've realized? Like, even last month, I get so nervous now gigging back home and here, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. I truly don't give a fuck. I truly do not care.
Because you don't know definitely don't know the people where at home it might be like, oh yeah, I met Marianne from the hair salon. She saw your show.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
See, that terrifies me. Like, even if I hear that someone from back home has came to a show out here, I'm like, what show are they going to? Oh, it's that place? Oh my God, that's going to be fucking awful. They're going to go back home and be like, your man's really struggling in New York. He should have stayed here, you know?
Yeah, that's what sucks about, I think, comedy in general. It's like anyone can have a terrible set at any time for the most part. Obviously, the probability of that goes down. The more you do it, the better you get, whatever. But anyone can have a terrible set if they're in a bad environment or they're just off or whatever. And as an audience member, if you see that and you're not so much like a comedy nerd, you see Jerry Seinfeld have a terrible set, you're like, oh, this guy sucks now.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think like, well, what kind of environment was it? Was he working on new stuff? Was it blah, 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 blah? You're just like, oh yeah, no, he's bad.
Yeah. And that's their forever opinion.
Yeah. And I think about that too. Whenever it's the first time someone like that I grew up with sees me, I'm like, oh.
Oh yeah, like that's the worst. That is the worst part. Is like a new friend or romantic partner.
Yeah.
Them coming to see you for the first time. You're just like fingers crossed the entire time, being like, please tell me this is a decent gig.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And then I used to get pretty selective on like, oh no, but don't come to that show. Don't come to that show.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, there's only so much you could do where it's like for the days to line up. But yeah, it's weird. I remember the first time you saw me do stand up.
At the Harry Lemon?
No. Maybe I don't. I blocked that one out. Damn. I should have told you not to come to that show.
Wait, what was your one?
I thought it was when you moved here. I thought it was when we did like a open mic.
What mic was it? Was it Robbie's?
Yeah. But I guess you've seen me before. So I guess
I'd seen you before. I think I'd seen you a couple of times before that.
Oh.
But I can't remember.
I remember, so Aaron did, before he moved here, he was visiting, and I had a bar show at the Harry Lemon, and it was, the Knicks were in the playoffs. It was like an elimination game 2 years ago, and the bar was like so loud, and they didn't turn the TVs down at all.
I'm surprised they did a show in there in general. I didn't know they did shows there.
You've been there, Harry Lemon?
Yeah.
There's like that side room.
Yeah.
So like, like we're talking about all the environment stuff of like comedy has to be in a good place. You hit the lottery if it's a separate room from the bar.
Yeah.
And this was technically a separate room, but there wasn't a door. It was just a little curtain.
Yeah.
And the curtain was not blocking anything from that Knicks game in the playoffs. And that's when Aaron came. I think that was the first time I met you.
Yeah, he thought I hated him.
Well, I was probably in my head about like, this fucking show.
I remember whenever you first told me that, I thought about that for 2 weeks.
Really?
I felt so bad. I was like, what kind of energy was I giving off that day?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See this. Now I'm sorry. Now I'm going to think about that. I'm going to think about you thinking about that for 2 weeks, for at least 3 weeks, because I need more.
I do like that you're as much of an overthinker as I am, because I find it
Don't
a rare
overthink that too
quality to
much.
say it, you know?
Because
Also, I think your podcast might be cursed.
why?
Because every time I've done it, the 2 times I've done it, terrible things have happened.
What happened now?
I got pickpocketed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't on the books at that time. I guess the last one was the breakup.
Yeah.
No, it's
Which
fun-
I will say, I'm a different man from that episode. But I'm not saying any goals on this episode of mine, any personal development that I hope to achieve. I'm keeping my lips sealed.
Come on.
I got so much abuse from the boys back home about that clip. Unbelievable amount of abuse.
Oh, that was a classic. That's my favorite clip of this entire year.
That was great. So yeah, last time you were on was the first episode, and we were just about to go to Boston with Grace O'Malley.
Oh my God.
And
Poetry.
You went on your like, what is it, David Goggins type of shit, where you're like, yeah, I just need a year, and I'll really like sort stuff out. I'll grow personally. My career will shoot up. I just need to stay away from the booze. And I'm going to do that for a year. It doesn't matter anything else. And then Grace is pouring vodka in our mouths.
Zero growth. I've grown like 2 belt holes. That's it.
But I think you're having way more fun and having a better year than if you stuck to that.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Right.
yeah, 100%.
Right away, we were both like, because I was going to do the month. And right away when we were broke, we were like, so glad we did this.
Yeah. As opposed to what? Being sober in a relationship with a girl that hates me?
Now you know how I felt when I met you 2 years ago. But yeah, so the breakup had just happened. Yeah, now
It
you
was
got.
so raw.
It was.
I think only it was you I would have said no, but it ended up being such a fun episode.
It was too raw to do a podcast after, probably.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
It was fun. I found it therapeutic.
All right, thanks. I'm glad. Maybe this will be therapeutic for your pickpocketing incident.
Weirdly, the pickpocket incident, I'm not too sorry about. Like, I got over it pretty quickly.
So what happened? You were at the Trash Talk show?
I was at the Turnstile concert.
Show.
And, you know, I had never been to, like, a show of theirs. I'd only been to see them. They did Tyler, the Creator's Music Festival a couple of years ago, and I saw them there, and I was like, this is unbelievable. And then I got into their music, started listening to a whole bunch of it. And then they announced they were doing a show under the K Bridge in New York, like the day their new album was coming out. So I was like, I have to go to that, whatever. And went to it. And it was so funny. I was in the line for the merch stand. And I'm like, I'm just going solo. Do you know what I mean? I was like, no one really that I'm friends with, like, listens to their music. And even if they did, they might not pay like $100 to go see them.
Oh, it was that expensive?
It's $100.
Are they that big?
But it was like 4 acts. They've just sort of blew up.
And they're a punk band.
Yeah. Well, hardcore band, but purists of the genre would disagree. You know? They're one of those ones. But
what would they call it?
Shite, probably. But I was in the line for the merch, and this guy goes, "Yo, Aaron," and I was like, "Oh," I was doing that thing where I was like, "Yes, mate, what's up? How are you?" And I was like, "Who the fuck is this?" And then I just hung around with him and his mate,
and never went deeper into like.
I was trying to click it. I was like, "Who do I know? Is this a friend of a friend? Is this whatever?" Turns out it's the fella that makes sandwiches at Rosario's.
Oh,
Lovely fella. So me and him hung out with his mate, right? Had a couple of drinks. The second the Turnstile came on to the stage, I've never seen nothing like this. The entire crowd just mushed forward, right? So I had no control over my body. I was levitating, and I'm a big fella.
Now you know how it feels to be a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
In 2025.
And it's terrible. And I just, I floated through the crowd, and they pushed so hard that I was right in the third row. So I was right beside the stage.
Oh my God.
And I was going nuts. I was going absolutely mental, right? But I wore zip pockets because I was like, I'm going to be jumping around a lot, you know. Ended up crowd surfing and everything, boys.
Crowd surfing?
Yeah. My size.
How do you crowd surf from the crowd? I thought you have to jump from the stage. Oh yeah, the footsie at a punk concert is so funny. Like, yeah, fuck everything, fuck the law. Can you give me a little footsie?
And the guy offered too, because I was like, I'm not gonna ask the crowd surf because I'm self-aware. I know I'm a big lad. And this guy was like, let's go, bro. And I was like, what? And he's like, come on, let's go. And then I just put my foot up, and he fucking pushed me up. And
that's
then
awesome.
I crowd surfed for maybe like 2 heads, and then I just dipped. I think there was like 2 big lads behind us. I crowd surfed them, and then it was like a couple of like 20-year-old girls, and I just kind of fell on them.
I mean, it's kind of nice though.
Could have been another Astro World, to be honest.
Yeah, really.
I just killed 2 ladies.
Yeah, it would have been your Astro World.
So then, like, I was very cautious the whole time. I was like constantly filling my pockets, make sure my phone's there, whatever. And then every time I took my phone out, I took like 2 videos, great videos, put them back in my pocket, zip up. And then on like the third last song, I go to reach my phone again, gone.
Whoa.
And I'm like, being like, you know, that instant, like, fuck, where is it? I gotta find it. But I look at the crowd, everyone is just jumping up and down, crowd surfing constantly. I'm getting kicked in the head from people crowd surfing. And I was like, I'm not gonna find it. So in that moment, I did this thing where I just accepted my fate. I was just like, it's gone. Now are you gonna let that ruin the rest of your concert? And I just enjoyed the show.
That's a liberating moment.
It was.
Where you're like, you know what?
I just let go. And so now I'm on a forced social media break.
You let go, and then how soon after you were like, what the fuck was I thinking? Why did I let go like that?
As soon as the concert ended. As soon as they didn't do an encore, I was like, what the fuck?
This is all I have. What do you mean no encore?
But to me, what is nice is, you know, I've learned a lesson. I have to do iCloud backups.
You do.
I have no proof of life post 2021, which is lovely.
Your only proof of life is that some old Irish guy saw you do a show at a bar.
That's all I have. There's no pictures, videos, anything. If it's not my Instagram, it's gone.
Oh.
But it means that all the pictures of my ex-girlfriend are gone. It's like she never existed.
Wow. So every time you come on this podcast, it's a healing moment from that
100%.
relationship. Hell yeah. Wait, so you used your phone after you crowd surfed. So it wasn't when you crowd surfed.
No.
Because I thought this was going to end with the guy who gave you a footsie also gave you a pickpocket. And
That
he
could
took
be
it,
what happened.
and that was his plan the whole time.
But how I know that it must have been a pickpocket as opposed to just me jumping up and down. At the very end, at guest services, there was a line of like 80 to 100 people. And everyone in that line had got a phone, wallet. And a lot of them were like, we weren't even in the pits. We were standing at the back.
Oh, wow.
Like, we got our shit stolen 100%.
It's a good scheme. If you want to pickpocket people, going to a punk concert is probably a great.
Oh, it's a pickpocket's wet dream.
Yeah.
Everyone jumping up and down voluntarily
Yeah.
with their prized possessions in their fucking pockets. Easy.
You're just asking for footsies. You get that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good gig. I might start doing that. Aaron, I have your phone the whole time. Damn, that's crazy. Well, I also had a crazy experience this past weekend. So we went to South Carolina, and man, it's no Naples. I'm not leaving with any kids, but
Dipping into that lost.
wait, real quick, because you have to leave at what time? It's 5:30 now.
Me?
Yeah,
No, I'm good.
you're good.
Yeah, I already checked. It's 8. I have to be there for 8.
Okay, all right. So we're good. But South Carolina, you would have loved to be there. And right away, I already told Dina one of the stories, and she was like, "Oh, Aaron would love this. This is the strangest thing that I've ever done in my life. I think. No, probably not.
Wait, I think she mentioned this to me.
Which one did she?
You befriended like a group of people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Okay. So first, South Carolina is a beautiful place, and Grace is like a beetle. Like, remember how it was in Boston where everyone was just like almost fainting? They're like, oh my God, that's Grace O'Malley. South Carolina was like that too, but the club was like outside of the city, kind of, like outside of downtown. So people would be like, oh my God, Grace O'Malley, what are you doing here? And then that's kind of weird because it's like, if you love me this much, shouldn't you know that I have a show?
Yeah, 100%.
But it was like the show was kind of like in the hood. And then we were downtown. And
South Carolina has a hood?
They do.
What
You
was the
look
venue?
intrigued, like, maybe I'll check it out.
What was the venue?
The venue, what do you mean?
Like, what was the venue in the hood of South Carolina?
It's a club. It's a new club. It's a
Okay.
really good room, and yeah, the shows were so much fun. But right outside of it is like it looks like it's a strip club. It's just a random abandoned building in like a parking lot,
Interesting.
and then it's across from like very like skeptical places.
Maybe I'll tip a special there.
Maybe you should. It's a great room. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like part of me is like, oh, why don't you just have it downtown? But then it's like, no, this room is great. But we did the shows, and then after the first night, we went to this like very divey South Carolina bar. The bouncer had a shirt that said, "I miss war." Yeah.
That's a violent wardrobe choice.
Also, it's funny how violent it is, but also kind of like sensitive. We're like, I miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to kill people. I miss the days where I used to kill people. But it was so like divey and south, and that southern accent, I don't know if I've experienced it in that
Oh, I
capacity.
love it.
I love it too.
I love it.
It's like,
I would love a Southern belle.
oh,
I
same.
would love that.
I think I could see myself falling under that spell and moving to the south just if it was like the right woman.
Dude, for the right woman, I would quit everything. I swear to God, I would stop everything. I'd be a house husband, no problem.
You'd quit stand up.
My last relationship, I was like, I should just move upstate. I just moved to Beacon, work in a coffee shop.
It's it's so funny too because it's like a 2-hour train ride.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
I'm quitting
I'm
everything.
leaving it all behind.
It's like you're still here.
I had
Actually,
enough
kinda.
time in the casino. I'm leaving. I'm taking my chips and my beautiful lady. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
That's like the opposite version of Grizzle, my cousin, when he's like, yo, I saw that girl. I almost risked it all. I'm like, you don't have a wife and kids, man. Like, you don't even have a job. What are you risking? But that like it was like a southern dive bar. Felt like we were in a movie. And then there was this guy who kept trying to insert himself to our conversation. And most of the people there are so nice, so it's like fine. Like, I'm always up for some gab with some old fellas. I think
course.
one time you said to me like, every time I see you, you're with an old guy at a bar. I'm like, looking for a father. But this guy, he literally yelled that to us once. He goes, I'm the old drunk guy at the bar. And we're like, that's a weird thing to announce about yourself. It's like when the writing in a TV show is bad, so they say, hey, it's me, your cousin. You know?
Legend.
But there was something like off about him where Grace was like, that guy's like, he's like fake happy. There's like something off. Like his wife might have just divorced him tonight.
Ooh, psychoanalysis.
I know, but
My.
I think she was right.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, she was probably like, go be an old drunk guy at the bar. And he's like, I'm an old drunk guy at the bar. And then at a certain point, I think I called him, he looked like Tucker Carlson. And I think I called him that. And Grace was like, I just get a vibe that this is going to end in a brawl with him. We have to leave right now. And I was like, all right, I trust those instincts. So we got out of there. And not before a couple of random people were just like, O'Malley? What the hell? And then we got out of there. Friday night, the show, there was like this crazy drunk girl that was front row, of course. They're always front row.
They always are.
And
They
she
always are.
was so drunk that she seemed disabled, but she wasn't. She was just drunk, and she just was clapping like
Like that?
yes.
Like through the fingers?
It was on the cusp of finger clap
Uh-huh.
and yelling out whatever. And the club, to their credit, gave her like 3 chances to the point where like I see the guys, Connor Mook from Barstool was with us too. We were like switching from host and feature, and he was hosting that night, and it was like tough. I was
Yeah.
like, this is like, she won't stop.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of like disciplining her a little bit. And I was like, all right, maybe she'll be good by the time I go up there. By the time I go up there is when they like kick her out for a second. So it's such a weird thing when, have you had that before where mid-set someone's getting kicked out?
Yeah.
And if it's a big enough room, it doesn't matter. Like maybe like one table will pay attention, but everyone else is fine. This was such a like intimate room where like everyone is paying attention
Well,
to that.
yeah, and she's in the front row. So like
Yes.
everyone's gonna see it.
Yeah.
If she's in the back, they can kinda like very slyly come on and like take her out.
Yeah. So it was like a interesting thing to be like, everyone is paying attention to that. They don't want to hear jokes. Like,
Yeah.
what am I going to do about, so there was like a couple of seconds of just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? And then I started interviewing her friends about how this happened, whatever. And like, it ended up being fine, but then she comes back into the room. They were letting her back
rose
in.
again?
She rose again. Bro, she had 9 lives. And then,
Sounds like my old iPhone.
what if it rises again?
If it raises again, I'm thrown in the river. I'm not supposed to have that.
It rises again, like, and then finger clap. And she was like so drunk. And then she had a friend that had like a very strong Southern accent, very beautiful woman. And she was talking to me at the bar. And I was like, oh my God, this is it's like Reese Witherspoon. I feel like I'm in Sweet Home Alabama. And I was talking to her, and then her friend kept being like, oh, Lindsay is like taken outside. Like they're threatening to call the cops. And she was like, I'm talking to someone. And then I was like, that's crazy, huh? Anyway, and then she was like, yeah. So, and they were like, you got to come with us. And she was like, oh my God, that's not my problem. And half of me was like, oh, I love this woman. Half of me was like, that's your friend, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And so that was my only shot at having that giving up everything for love. But it didn't happen because finger claps.
Well, I'm glad I didn't lose you to South Carolina.
Thanks, man.
I'd be upset about that.
It's easy to, it seems like that would be a good place to move. There's a lot of people from like the tri-state area that move there to retire. There's a lot of young people. We went to this bar that night that was like, I felt like I was in a movie of like a frat house mansion. It was like all so preppy and like rich, and everyone there is beautiful, men and women. They all look like, if they're a dude, they look like the quarterback of a college football team. The women are all beautiful. I'm like, where am I?
Sounds like my bathhouse. the bathhouse I go to.
Oh,
Everyone's gorgeous.
you said that, and with the vape and the leg cross, it sounded like you own a bathhouse, and now you're bragging about your bathhouse.
If I did, I would not let that many good-looking people in. It's way too intimidating, especially with like the horny purple lights.
There's horny purple lights.
Horny purple lights.
So a bathhouse, it's kind of like a spa, but you do your own thing.
Yeah, it's a wee spa. You get in there, you can take a dip in like the heated pool. You can go into the saunas. You
Lick
can
the
go into
heated pool?
Steam rooms. They got a heated pool. They got a cold pool. You choose your temp. It's a choose your own adventure.
Choose your temp. And then you just pay for the day and you just like hang out there.
Pay for the day. You can get a massage. I got a massage. It was very awkward. Hated it.
Have you ever had a non-awkward massage?
No, I've had 2 massages in my life, and the first one was the woman offered me a happy ending.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did.
Was that
not,
here
I
or
did
back
not-
home?
No, that was in Dublin. And
Can't trust the dubs.
I remember like as she was doing the massage, I was like, did this woman just finish school for this? This is very rough, you know? And then she told me to take my boxers off, and I was like, no. And she goes, take them off. And I was like, no. And then she went, so you don't want a happy ending? And I went, no, I don't want a happy ending. And then she goes, so what do you want? And I was like, I want a fucking massage. And then I swear to God, bro, she stood up on top of me, right? And like, this is like a tiny...
Stood on top of you?
Stood on top of me, like feet on my back.
What the
Tiny Vietnamese lady, right? Stands on my back, right? Then claps my sides like this and goes, arms up. And then I put my arms up. She put me in a chicken wing.
What?
And like leaned back. It would have been, I wish I had a picture of it because it would be a great show poster. But it was just this tiny Vietnamese lady like tugging me back like the front of the Titanic.
And this is after she offered happy ending and you say no.
Yes.
So is this her being like, oh shit, I don't know how to actually massage. I gotta really go for it. Chicken wing.
Yeah, well, what I should have done was as soon as she offered it, been like, I'm getting out of here. This is a disgrace. But I was like, well, I paid for it, so you better do something.
It's so funny to get offered a happy ending and be like, no, and then stay and continue the massage. Because you don't want, because I guess if you leave, it would be like a sad ending. This is just a mediocre like ending.
Exactly. and then this one at the bathhouse, I had like, my back was like full of knots. And I was like, on the bathhouse website, you could add a massage to your thing. And I was like, oh, lovely. I love a massage, you know? And so I go on the website and you go to book the massage and it says, would you like a female or a male massage therapist? Now, what would you choose?
Female.
Yes, me too.
But I always get weird about it.
Bro, the second I picked female, I was like, this is weird. They're going to think I'm a creep. They're going to deport me. And I just went down anyway, right? And I didn't think about it twice. And then I went into the place and the girl behind the counter, she goes, yes, Mr. McCann, you're booked in for massage at 2:30. And she's like, oh, you've requested a female. And I was like, oh my God, you're making me feel like a rapist. You know?
Man.
So then, but then
laugh.
I get in there and the girl that massaged me, lovely lady, you know, and she brings me into the room and there's like a little thin sheet on the massage table and she goes, okay, so I'm going to leave the room and you're going to take off your swimming trunks. And I was like, oh, well, 2 seconds, then I have to go back to the changing room because I have to get my boxers. And she goes, no, you don't need that. And I was like, it's happening again. Why is everyone trying to jack me off? And so I was like, oh, no, I've nothing on underneath these. And she goes, no, that's the whole point. And I was like, you have to be joking me. And she was like, no,
She
well.
starts like cracking her fingers and shit.
Arms up. She's like, well, it'll be a more effective massage if, you know, you're not. And I was like, is this above board or what's happening here? So I was just like, okay, she's the professional. Who am I to question her, right? I'm a dickhead for thinking it's anything weird, you know?
You think everyone wants to jerk you off?
I think everyone secretly wants to jerk me off, you know?
You walked in here today and Chris was like, I want to jerk that guy off.
People eye me up all the time in the street. And so I get underneath the wee thin sheet, which, by the way, I've never felt like a fatter cunt in my life. Getting onto this massage table, rickety old fucking table, put my face in the thing.
Dick
She's
out.
like, just, what?
Dick out?
Dick out.
Okay.
Dick is out.
All right.
Flat, flaccid, against the bench.
Yeah.
And she
that's
goes,
rough.
call me in whenever you're ready. So I just put my face in the thing, got my dick out, covered, and then I just go, yes. And then she comes in, starts doing the massage. Have you had a massage?
I have.
Yeah.
It's way more intimate than
Oh, yeah.
a lap dance.
Yeah.
Because she goes up to my shoulders, right? And she goes, you're very tense, very tense. And I was like, yes, I am. And she goes, okay, just breathe in. And then she breathed with me. She went, and she goes, breathe out. And then she went,
As she's massaging you.
yeah. So now I'm hard.
Yeah.
And basically,
It is more intimate than a lap dance. That's crazy.
is.
We should be hearing strippers' real names, but not the masseuses.
bro, if we're breathing together, you better take me on a date. You know? So then I'm doing grand. I'm not getting hard. And then she asked me to flip over on my back.
Oh.
And now I'm like, okay, this is the final boss. If
can't
I can
pitch a
do
tent.
this, I'm an ally. And she's massaging around like my glutes. And then she's like doing my thighs and all. And she's getting really close. And I'm talking. And the second
Was that
I
your
stop-
impression of the first massage you got?
That was the name of the special. And then there was a pause. in conversation and we stop talking, and all of a sudden the blood starts going to my root. And I was like, oh my God, I can't get hard from this woman. This is so embarrassing. So I start talking again. And when we start talking, it like dies.
It's so funny that a woman talking is what kills you.
No, a woman not talking.
No, what kills you? Wait, you were hard when she.
Stop talking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A woman talking kills your erection is so funny.
So much for ally, bro. You're done.
Because I was
Oh
so
my
nervous,
God.
and I was like, the conversation is taking my mind off it because I'm focusing on what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
just started talking, and like I was just throwing her the dumbest questions just so we would be in conversation and I wouldn't get hard.
That's
know?
the nice way to put it. But the real thing is, yeah, keep talking, toots.
Yeah, it's like there's a pause in conversation. I just feel like going up, and I'm like, so what's it like being a black woman in America?
Men are only allies so that it keeps us soft.
Yeah, 100%.
Or like, if I don't care about a woman's feelings, then I'm gonna be a sex offender.
But she was a lovely lady. We had a lovely conversation, and
man.
then it was over, and I haven't seen her since.
It's so funny to like to be paranoid of someone trying to jerk you off. Especially like a beautiful woman that's like great at her job.
Deep-seated fear.
Doesn't it suck that the one who was offering to jerk you off isn't getting you hard because she's not good at the massage?
Yes.
So it's like the people who don't do that because they're respected professionals are the ones who you'd prefer it from.
100%. 100%.
It's an evil world we live in.
100%. And the funny thing is about that place in Dublin, when I was done, I was walking out, and this big, massive fella came down the stairs, and I just looked at him and I was like, you dirty bastard.
Yeah, but he's thinking the same about you.
Oh, true.
That's great. Oh man. Speaking of strip clubs, second time in my life I went to a strip club was this weekend.
Well,
I don't belong there. I still feel gross about it. My crazy travel day yesterday, I'm convinced all of that is for my sins of going to a strip club on Sunday.
yeah.
Oh, so Friday, the group of people that I met.
Oh, sorry, yes.
So we leave that like crazy mansion frat house type of bar, which is like so much fun, but it was like, yeah, they all look like generational wealth. Like, oh, that guy's dad definitely had a plantation. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And we go home and we're like, because everything closes early. It closes like 1:30. It's supposed to be 2, but they're like, yeah, but we got to get people out. So 1:30, you're like, all right,
Yes.
fuck you. And then we leave and we're like, I just want one more drink. Just like one more at the house would be great. Grace is like, I always have to order beers to the house, but you can't do that there. You can't like DoorDash booze. So we're just like, what the hell? Damn, I just want one more. And across from us, there's a family, a black family, that is having like, it seems like they're having a party. Like they're like half inside, half outside. And they were like, jokingly, Grace was like, should we ask them if they have booze? And I was like, yeah, we should. And she's like, no, I'm just joking. And then the two of them were like, actually, I bet, Liam, I bet you could go do it. And I'm like, you guys are fucking with me. And they're like, no, seriously, like, you could do that.
Yeah.
And I
could
was
see you
like,
do that.
so then it got to my head. I was like, I could fucking do that.
Yeah.
So then I was like, but then, you know, when someone's like, yeah, you should do that, but they don't think you're going to do it. So as soon as I get up, they're like, he's doing it.
yeah.
Oh my God, he's doing it. So I walk over, and in hindsight, this sounds crazy because it's South Carolina. It's 3:00 in the morning, and I'm just walking up to a person's home. I think that's a stand your ground state. I don't know.
yeah.
Looking back, a sober mind, I don't know if I do this.
Stand your ground, meaning they could shoot you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chris is like, yeah, I've done that before, brother.
That makes it more fun, though.
Yeah, you got to live life.
You know.
So I
Wait,
go
how
over.
are you approaching their house? What? I thought this was in a parking lot or something.
No, we're in our backyard
Oh, so you just
of the Airbnb.
go into the neighbors like spoonful of sugar type of thing?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm a neighborly guy.
right.
I'm Mr.
Still funnier
Rogers.
us getting
Queen
shot
shit.
for a black cherry white claw.
So I walk over and I just go like, hey, how are you guys? Sorry to bother you. And a guy sees me and he's just like, hey, what's up? But then an older woman sees me. She's probably like in her late 40s. And she starts screaming at me. And he at first is like super nice. And she's like, what the fuck? Nah, get the fuck out of here. Nah, get the fuck out of here. I ain't trying to play that shit. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So I immediately, I'm like, oh, sorry. And I'm walking away. And I didn't hear this at the time, but Connor, who was with us, said that he heard her say, I'll blast you. I didn't hear that at the time because I would have ran and got my gun. No, but I would have dipped as soon as I heard that. And then I'm like, no, it's okay, it's okay. And then I'm leaving, and the guy's like, hold on, wait a second. And they're all like, Lisa, calm down. And then he's like, come here. He's like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from New York. He's like, oh, I'm from Brooklyn. And then I was like, oh, where, blah, whatever. And he's like, man, what's going on with you? What's going on? And I was like, no, I was just going to ask if you guys know, like, if there's any place to get booze around here. There's like, everything's closed. You can't order booze. And he's like, man, let me guess, they sent you over here? I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, they're lucky they got you to come over. And I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. And then they all come out, and then the lady who was screaming at me, like threatening to blast me, comes over and goes, I'm so sorry. What was your name? I'm sorry. And then I have to act like so understanding of that. And I was like, I would have done the same thing. I would never yell at anyone like that.
Yeah, I would threaten to shoot someone too.
Man, if someone stepped anywhere near my property, it's over for life for that. No, I don't know.
But maybe she doesn't mean. Like, we're assuming blast means kill you with a gun. She might not have meant it.
I think it means kill you with a gun.
It might not have meant.
I think the only time it
finger
does,
blast maybe or something like that.
she's gonna finger blast me.
Which would be worse. You would remember that more.
I'm gonna blast you is what the masseuse should have told you.
Yeah.
But so then she comes over and she's like, I'm sorry about that. What's your name? I do feel like we have a connection. What's your sign? And I was like, I'm a Pisces. She's like, I'm a Pisces. Oh my God. You
Of
got
course she's an astrology bitch.
She was
That
like,
is so Sagittarius to threaten to kill someone with a gun.
I was only gonna shoot you because I thought you were a Gemini.
It was a half moon. I'm sorry. I act up.
Retrograde, you know. So then she's like, meet my daughter. And then her daughter comes out and she's like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, let's get tequila for all of them. They pour us up tequila. They
Amazing.
bring the friends, Grace and Connor come over, hand us beers. They had us cups. And they're like, you guys are lucky you got Liam here. Liam really hooked it up. And then I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. And then at a certain point, the Brooklyn guy, just for no reason, like 20 minutes into us all hanging out, just goes, I got to say something.
Oh no.
These people, and points to us, they're not racist. And we're like, okay, yeah. And
Just a look at my search history.
just don't hear why they told me to come over here. And his girlfriend and her sister and everything that were there, they were like, yeah, obviously they're not racist, you idiot. Like, why would you say that? And then they go, guys, just don't call us that one word. And we were like, what the hell? We would never. What do you mean? And they're like, yeah, so you could say it in some context, but you can't say it. And I was like, I can?
They're wrong. They're 100% wrong.
Well, I know that, except karaoke. But I when I was telling my sister this story, she was like, oh, well, like South Carolina, the white people there are like old school racist. Bridget was like, when I went on a tour there, they heard we were from New York, and they were like, from the city or upstate? And they're like, city. And then on the way back, they made them sit in the back.
Oh shit.
But also, I'm
They
like,
Rosa Parks them.
Rosa Parks, which is so dumb because upstate New York is still the north.
Yeah,
That's more north.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, and
They don't know that. They don't have school
That's so
down
funny
there.
to be so racist that you'll be racist against the white person that lives in a city with international people.
hilarious. Also, it's like they're still not over the Civil War there.
Yeah.
Like they talk about it like it was a fixed football game from the 80s.
Yeah, they hold on to it.
They're like, yeah, the refs were on your side.
And
It's
that's
like,
a war, not that civil.
that's why I miss war. But yeah, so then, and then she goes, you got to meet my daughter. Oh my, and then the daughter is like, hi, how are you? And then I guess the daughter's boyfriend comes out of the house and he sees that and he goes, just looks at all of us and goes, nah, and then walks back in. I was like, what the hell was that? And then
That's terrifying.
I know, and he had grills too, which is very nice. I was jealous.
Amazing.
Also, the daughter is a hairstylist, and I think I committed to getting my hair braided that night, the next day for the show. And then at one point they go, yeah, okay, you guys are good. Tomorrow we'll barbecue. We'll get a bunch of food. We have EBT. Do you guys know what that is? And me, Grace, and the other kid were all like, oh yeah, our family. They were all we know what that is. But I realized quickly, I was like, I think we might be like the first white people that they've ever like hung out with.
Yeah.
Because they were like explain like, okay, so you're not racist. Don't say this one word. And there's this thing called EBT.
That's so funny.
And then they were like, yeah, the people, you're staying at the Airbnb. Sometimes they wave, but that's it. They don't even like acknowledge us. And I was like, oh, okay. So we're one of the good ones.
That's so funny.
And then the dude goes, you guys got cornhole over there? And we're like, yeah, we have cornhole. And we go over and we start to play cornhole. And
This is amazing.
we started to play cornhole. We all have beer. We're drinking. Grace ordered food. Now we're giving them food. It was like fucking the Christopher Columbus. Not Christopher Columbus. it was like the Pilgrims and the.
I don't know.
Maybe not like that.
You ended racism.
Yeah,
I
let's
really
do
think.
that.
You
So then,
squashed it.
so then the girl's boyfriend comes back. And I'm like, oh, this guy hates me because all he saw was me getting his girlfriend's Instagram. And I'm this white guy coming over to the house asking for free shit in South Carolina at 3 a.m., whatever. And then he's like, I want to play cornhole. And I was like, all right. And I felt like we were playing for her honor. So I was playing against him. And then I swear to God,
She's braiding your hair.
Playing for her honor. So funny. Grills and just throwing the nappies out.
But I swear to God, this sounds like a racist joke, and it's not. He starts shooting every cornhole shot overhand and drilling them like jump shots.
Hilarious.
It was. I really think that cornhole game ended racism.
Grills and going for 3-pointers in the cornhole is so funny.
Wild.
So
Who
funny.
won?
I still won. I still won.
Yeah.
And now I'm married to his girlfriend,
Yeah.
and I'm getting my hair braided tomorrow.
Whenever you first talked about the daughter being introduced, I was like, I really hope this is a meet cute.
She's beautiful. But what are you gonna do? I'm not a home wrecker. I am. I'll wreck your booze from your home, but
Did the fella with the grills eat the food?
I don't know. Are you wondering if he would have to take the grill
Do
out?
they take the grills out when they eat? I always wondered this.
I do think so, but I think actually maybe not.
I think it's a more of a power move to keep the grills on
Oh yeah, for sure.
when you eat.
And if I'm just making assumptions, I think probably the more like exclusive the grill, the more like gold in it. It's
Mm.
probably made better where you can eat with.
Yeah. Just eating orange chicken out of Panda Express.
Mm.
All these green diamonds glistening in your teeth.
Hell
It's
yeah.
class. I
Hell
love that.
yeah.
I want to get grills.
I could see you rocking grills.
Yeah. I would get grills. I also want an iced out necklace.
Do you really?
I do, but I
You want both? You can't rock both at the same time.
Can't
It's
do
too
both
much.
at the same time. It's too much flash. But I think if I had to choose one, I'd probably go grills.
What would you put? Would you put any designs in it, or would it just be like gold or silver?
I think I'd do different color for each tooth.
Mm.
You know, like pink, blue, yellow.
So no logos
They're
or
really
designs.
sparkly. No,
Just-
probably not.
Just a rainbow. You're just going Tekashi 6ix9ine rainbow. Grill?
Yes. But then my orthodontist did tell me I have horse teeth. So that might disrupt the grill.
I don't think that man was an orthodontist. I don't think that's a medical term.
He told me he put my braces on, and it usually takes whatever amount of time. I was wearing braces for like 4 years.
And he
My
said,
teeth were moving at such a slow rate.
"You have horse teeth.
He's like, you have the teeth of a horse.
You have the teeth of a horse."
Yeah.
That said, it was in Ireland.
Yeah.
That's a very
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
yeah.
Teeth of a horse.
That's a medical term in Ireland, I guess. He's a good man, but he's got the teeth of a horse.
Yeah, his ma had him a bit late in life. His one horse teeth.
Yeah, and then we're like so hungover the next day, and we're like, did that actually happen? And I was like, why would I go up to a stranger's house at 3:00 in the morning in South Carolina and ask them for booze? But then it was the Last Supper. That's what it was.
There you go.
Last Supper.
There you go.
None of that Pilgrim. Native
We'll drop
American
that
shit.
in.
Yeah, thanks.
I have to tell you, and I really do believe this. I think that exact story and the circumstance under which it happened, that is truly what life's all about.
I think so too, because there was also nice things of like the mom's sister. We call her auntie. She said she was like, all seriousness, she was like, isn't it crazy though how like things could end up like how this ended up?
Yes.
But also the flip side of that, which is, I think is what she was referencing, is like that's a type of thing that can easily go wrong, but like it doesn't have to.
No.
But it's because like, not to get all like, oh, I'm running for president, but like when people are together, things are so much better.
The amount of times that I have just like befriended a stranger and just decided to go out with them and their group into whatever they're getting into, and I've had some of the most amazing nights, and some of them we never even exchanged details.
That's awesome.
So they're just out there. I'll never see them again.
That's almost better.
Honestly, yeah, it's kind of like you ever watch How I Met Your Mother?
Actually, have not.
There's that one episode where Ted Mosby like meets this girl at like a wedding, and the two of them sneak off and they're like walking around the hotel and they have like a super romantic like sort of rom-com coming of age sort of night, but they make a promise halfway through the night that they won't exchange details because it'll ruin the magic of that one night.
And because he was married.
Ted Mosby?
No, I don't know.
No, I bet Ted was rocking free.
That's crazy. See, I don't know if that's like if that happened in real life. If a girl's like, okay, let's make a promise. We're not exchanging information because it's just going to be the best night ever, and we'll never see each other again.
I would kill myself.
Yeah. Be like, what do you mean? No, I'm putting a tracker in your bag right now. No, I just bought a house in South Carolina for us. Oh, by the way, wait, I forgot a key part of that story. The dude who like kind of welcomed me in, the guy that originally is from Brooklyn, I was like, thanks so much, man. My name is Liam. And he was like, I was like, what's your name? And he's like, Black. I was like, I'm not calling you that. I'm like, guys, come over. Come meet Black. And they're like, whoa!
Do I got a surname?
Mr. Black. Oh, man. Yeah, and then, so then Sunday, we went pretty hard day drinking to fight like hair of the dog. And we're just on the dock of this bar. And there's dolphins going by. We're just drinking beers.
What a magical weekend.
It was awesome. And then we have one more show, and I'm like pretty drunk. And we get there, and I had the best set I had all weekend. And this happened in Boston too, where I'm like, do I have to get drunk before every set?
No, it's just that like, especially if you have like a weekend of gigs and then on the last day, you're like a little bit more carefree.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a couple of drinks and you go on like a kind of half boozy state, you just kind of like care less. But that's something that you can naturally, you know.
And I think you're right. I think you kind of need that last day of day drinking to survive that last day.
Yeah.
The Monday's going to suck, but
Yeah.
and maybe the Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then we ended up at the Charleston Strip Club. And I am not built for these places. What's your strip club experience?
You went to the strippies?
To the strippies. Marito calls them the strippers. I love going to the strippers, bro.
The idea of Marito getting a lap dance is so funny. He put him in like a baby chair. It was like, I've been to 2 strip clubs in my life, and both of them were quite sad. The second one was in Leeds in England,
Ooh.
which was a terrible choice. And I had Catholic guilt kick in because I went with a bunch of comics from London, and I was the only white man in the group. And we went, and they were like fucking around and being like, you know, okay, here's some etiquette for the strip club. They're like, bro, these women are gonna tell you things that your ex-guy would never tell you, you know? So don't fall for it. And I was like, okay. Things my ex-girlfriend would never tell me.
She loves me?
And I love it. And then I get they buy me a lap dance. They tell the stripper that I was recently divorced. They told him I was celebrating my divorce. And then she was like, oh, well, happy divorce. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't pretend I'm divorced. And then she takes me into the lap dance room and pushes the curtain back. And she's like, so what do you want? And I was like, I'm not really comfortable with this, whatever. And then she goes, that's okay. And she was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. I want to go home and like watch Blue Planet. And she goes, I fucking love Blue Planet. And I was like, take a seat right here. We're discussing the Manatee episode. And then the
This
other
is the
one,
most Aaron McCann strip club experience ever.
and then the other one was Vegas.
Wait, so did she give you a dance at all?
No,
No dance.
We just talked.
They paid, and she didn't.
Well, the strip club was so run down that someone in the street was giving out free lap dance tokens.
Oh, no.
Oh my god!
So that's why the boys wanted to go there. Plus, they were serving booze.
That's rough. If they're barking for the strip club, it's not a
Oh
good
my
sight.
god,
Yeah.
dude!
God damn.
And then where was the other strippies?
Vegas, you said.
Vegas, yeah, sorry, Vegas. And it was like nice, but it was like you just like if you're not completely hammered and you like look around you, you just feel really sad.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm in Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't feel real, and I feel like I'm pushing buttons to go to a certain place.
Yeah.
And I can't like, it's so weird to stay serious.
Yeah.
In general, but like also I'm like, come on, like what?
Yeah.
Like the lady was doing a dance. She's doing one of her little routines. And I was like, hey, I have a lot of money. And I was like, I have a relative with a lot of, she's dying soon and I'm going to get a will pretty soon. And she's like, what? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do here. It's just very, very awkward.
Yeah, the Vegas one, I did get a lap dance. And I just sort of sat there like the statue of Abraham Lincoln, just like synced into my chair. And she did this weird thing where she bit my penis, but like with jeans on.
Yeah.
But then I think the zipper, I think she had fillings in her teeth, and like the zipper reacted.
She had a grill?
Yeah, she had a grill on.
So the zipper.
What do you mean she reacted?
She like bit down on my penis.
Yeah.
But-
Okay, yeah, we got that.
but
That one
like,
we got. Yeah.
it was like right around where the zip was, and she bit the zip, and she was like, ah. And it just took the magic out
You
of
should
it.
have went. I forgot to tell you, baby. My penis bites back. This penis bites
Yeah, I
back.
got that aluminum cock.
Oh man. Also, I
Or
lose
aluminum. You should get called.
aluminum. Yeah, that's AC Aaron. Aluminum cock Aaron. Yeah, don't ever.
I know I did get that one time.
What?
I was with a lover, and she had like a nipple piercing, and it reacted to the fillings in my teeth. Yeah, it was really sore.
Whoa. So hers react. Your teeth didn't react. Her.
No, my teeth. Yeah, my
your teeth.
I felt it all here.
Oh damn. So then, what'd you do?
I like went. I did the same as a stripper. I went. Ah.
Oh
Just told me to get out.
I always lose all powers. Like both times I've been in a strip club, I need like a guardian with me. Like I can't say, no. I'm not having a dance right now. I'm just like, I hand them like my social security card. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Oh wait, I did go to a strip club in Toronto as well. Yeah,
Did that
Mr. Worldwide.
resonate? You always give me Pitbull vibes. That's true.
Dale.
Wait till he gets the grill, bro. I don't think Pitbull ever had a grill, but whatever.
Imagine you just have a Pitbull alter ego as soon as you walk into the strip club.
I would love that.
That'd be dope.
I would just like to feel comfortable there.
You just for no reason have a white suit on. It's like, what? How do you get that? Just chest hair. It's like, what?
And then, okay, this one barely counts because we were going for like the crack. But there was one night where my friend Willie Simon came over from LA, and he was doing like a weekend in Dublin.
I think I know that guy.
Oh, he's so funny. And we were gigging with a mate of mine, and I'll not give his name, but he was saying that he knew that he went to the strip club, and during the pandemic, they stayed open, and he would go in there regularly, so to drink basically. And
They
then
were
would
open?
They were open
During
the
COVID, I was
pandemic.
doing the strip club on Zoom the entire time.
They were open. Like he was like a regular there because like none of his friends wanted to hang out. They were all social distancing, so he would go to the strip club. And so I swear to God, we walk in. I'm kind of thinking, there's no way this place was like open during then. We walk in, all the strippers know him by name. I never seen nothing like it.
It's kind of
And,
awesome.
But it was like that was definitely the saddest one. Actually, Leeds was probably sadder, but it was pretty sad.
The Leeds is just off the location alone. It's got to be Leeds.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's social distancing. Like they're giving a lap dance 6 feet away.
Yeah, just on Zoom.
God, yeah, I can't do it. The first time I went, I was with my friends, and I was like, I can't go to a strip club. Like I don't have any. I have $60 in my account. I'm not doing it. And then they're like, come on, whatever. And I'm like, I don't even have cash. And they're like, whatever, we'll figure it out. And then they convinced me to go in, and we go in, and then I'm like, all right, but I'm not spending any money. Like I'm just gonna be. And they're like, you don't have to. Just whatever, sit there. We'll do it.
No, because the strippers are very
They're vicious.
persistent.
Brother, my butt didn't touch the chair for more than 2 seconds. I sat down and was brought right back up by 2 women, and I was like, all right, where are we going? How much? What do I need? And then my friends were like, what the? You just said you're not doing anything. Now you're gone. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, I don't have money. And they're like, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, oh, figure it out. I guess they just love me.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, it's going to be this amount of money. And I'm like, well, I have to go to the ATM. And they're like, yeah, I'll bring you to the ATM, Poppy. And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, ATM, Poppy, cool. And then
That's what they call me.
I'm going to the ATM, and I see my friends arguing with the bouncer because they're like, yeah, we just want to go to the bank and come back. And they're like, he's like, use the ATM. And they're like, I don't trust that, whatever. And then he's like, your boy trusts it. And then they just look and they see me with 2 strippers just at the ATM. They're like, Liam, what the hell? You said you were spending no money. Now you're using the shady ass ATM on Steinway.
Yeah, the strip club ATM is you should never put a card in there.
Yeah, no, that was. There's a couple things I shouldn't have put in places that. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. That was also. I didn't know what any of the rules or what happens there. They just kept.
What do you mean the rules?
Like apparently,
what do you mean rules for?
apparently you got to keep my clothes on. I thought we were in it together. No, but they were like,
It's so funny. They kind of laughed at, and then just as soon as she closed the curtain, be like,
boxers off, arms up. No, but I didn't know what any of this means.
before you had to like bring a Beyblade arena to a strip club, and then as soon as she closes the curtain, just like battle bots her.
I bring a 3-piece suit and then I start. Yeah, I didn't know what any of the words mean because they were like full package, Poppy, full package, and I was like, I don't know what that means, but it always sounds good, full package. So then,
Yeah, if you want the Applebee's,
full package.
you're like, I might as well get the full package.
When I go to the car wash,
Yeah,
cool.
full package.
I won't have to be back for another month.
I know half package, bitch. Maybe the full one.
But then it was just a regular lap dance, and I was like, oh, I didn't know. They just completely got me. But as soon as they heard me say, that's all my money, they were like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then I left just smelling like bad perfume and glitter on me. And
Yeah, the perfume smell is a lot.
bro, just coming back from Charleston in the airport all day yesterday, I still smelt like
Yeah.
the strip club. It was rough.
Yeah, there's something like, what is it? What's that like my mom used to say?
That's not a good segue right
She'd be
there.
like, you smell like a Hoover's handbag, which is so accurate.
That's great.
Because like there's something about stripper perfume that is like so potent.
And how is it the same perfume in Charleston and in Astoria? And probably like Leeds and Toronto too.
Please.
What?
They're all just using the same brand.
And then there's like a wholesale thing of like stripper perfume.
But apparently, like, there's probably a technique to that. There's probably some sort of deep hidden thing there.
Like a psychological thing.
Yeah.
Like how they say, like, you at restaurants, you want to give them a drink first because then they make worse decisions and they'll spend more money. And then you give them bread first because then that makes them want to eat more. There's like all a psychoanalysis for restaurants.
Yes, I think that some restaurants, when you walk into it, they immediately hit you with the water and bread in case you try to leave.
Mm.
Because then you're like, you feel guilty because you're like, now I'm wasting bread and water.
Did I ever tell you that prank that me and O'Grizzle used to do?
No, it was
We thought this was so funny to just go to this Japanese restaurant by my house and just sit and order water. And then they would keep coming back and like, okay, so what do you guys want? And we're like, we'll just get water for now. And then they kept coming back and I'm like, all right, what about now? And I'm like, I think water is pretty good right now. And then they did it like 7 times and then we left. And then a year later, we're like, oh, remember that great idea we had of ordering water and leaving? Let's do that again. So we go to the same place. It's a year later. I've never go there at all. And we're like, yeah, we'll just take water for now. And they go, last time you ordered water and you left. And we're like, what the hell? And we just ran out of there. I'm like, did they have our faces on the wall back there?
Wait, is this a place literally right beside your house?
Not that one. It's up by like where I went to school, up Grand Avenue.
Okay.
And they were just like, how do they remember us
Is
over a
this
year
sushi
later?
place?
It is sushi.
Yeah, that place is fire, by the way. You should get food there.
Not, you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like up by like I-73. But yeah.
You should, that restaurant you went to, you should try getting food there.
Imagine 20 years later, I go back and they're like, you order water and leave. By the way, I refrained from doing the accent when I did
You were
that.
approaching it.
I was walking the line a little bit.
Walk? All right, my bad. I'll kill myself. No worries.
That was really good. That was
great.
really good.
That. You know what?
Thank you, guys.
It's not going to get better than that. That was awesome.
Can I use this opportunity now to try to form a pact with you guys?
What's the
Uh-oh.
pact?
I want to go to Vixens of Maspeth with you gentlemen.
What's that?
It's the stripper. It's the strippers.
Vixens of Maspeth?
Listen,
It's not called
I've never
of
gotten a
Maspeth.
lap dance at this place once, but I love bringing like my friends from back home there just for the experience.
Oh,
of
you've
this
been
place.
there?
Oh, several times. Never
I
gotten
wanna
a
meet
lap
the
dance.
Vixens.
There's a
I'm here to see the Vixens, please.
Vixens of Maspeth is it's an
How many
experience, man.
Vixens?
As many as you can handle, bro.
What is this, a
and
Christmas
then
carol?
some more.
7 Vixens of Maspeth. 8 Stromboli incels.
1 Hoover's handbag.
5 white people at the black person's house in South Carolina. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I think that's the strip club that there was a Knicks player in like 2014 that got shot there.
Yeah.
Or got robbed there. He
Yep.
didn't get shot there. He got
Oh.
robbed. And like in Maspeth, we were like, hell yeah, we're on the map.
Did one of the Vixens do it?
That'd be crazy. No, then that's just like a motivational film. Then if a woman does it, I was like, hell yeah.
The Vixens is a great name for it. It immediately
It's
enticed me.
phenomenal.
I want to meet
So
the
do we have a
Vixens.
pact?
What are we still doing here?
Do we have a pact
To go to Vixens?
of Maspeth?
I'm going to meet the Vixens.
Let's go
As
meet-
if there's another, like, I don't know. I guess there probably is another Vixens, but I think it's also like, I don't remember because I've been very hammered every time. I think it's like branded as like an old like VHS like porno store outside. It's
Amazing.
Oh,
there's
really?
culture at this place, dude. Vixens and Maspeth.
There's aesthetic.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, at the Charleston strip club, they're like, all right, last call, we're leaving, whatever, you got to get out of here. And then we're like, all right, let's go. And then the TVs turn to American flags, and the DJ starts playing Born in the USA.
That is a banger. There's
It
a
is.
lot of like Americana classic rock songs I love.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen is fucking awesome. I
He's
just got
like
into him
God
recently.
in Ireland.
Really?
People love Springsteen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
People love him.
I never listened to him at all. And then when I did that background gig of his biopic, he was there. And he would seem like the man.
Yeah.
And then
He has an aura.
he really does.
Yeah.
And then they played one of his songs like all day. And usually if you're like on a set and you hear the same song all day, you hate it. You never want to hear it again. That one I was like, I want to go home and listen to the song.
I only really properly know one song of him, like properly, Dancing in the Dark.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one they played all day. And I was like, this song is awesome.
And I've heard those songs so many times, but I don't know the lyrics. So I just make up my own.
I get up in the evening.
I'm fucking steaming. Meeting a vixen in my spot.
We gotta go.
I want to.
Ending racism with cornhole.
Can't throw a cornhole. Can't throw a cornhole wearing a grill.
They said death row cornhole. I was like, that's crazy.
Death row cornhole.
That's crazy. That one,
I would watch a stream of that.
they played cornhole until someone dies.
Yeah, they get prisoners on death row, and they're like, "We'll let one of you live, but it's a battle in a game of cornhole."
It's so funny because that's like the last sport you would want prisoners to play.
Cornhole.
Yeah, because you're like, when you're like, oh, we're playing prison ball tonight, you're like, oh, it's going to be a rough, like, violent game. It's going to be awesome. And then cornhole is no contact sport of just like you're sipping a White Claw and like,
Yeah.
but you're getting violent criminals to play the
Yeah.
most. Maybe that will fix them.
Honestly, I think the juxtaposition of it would make it a star TV show.
We should do that as a sketch.
By the way, someone was telling me last night, like this just was random fella. He's a comic that I've met a couple times before. Nice guy. Sorry, I nearly broke my mouth there. But he was like, we were talking about TV shows, and you know, whenever you're trying to have a conversation with someone and they're kind of giving you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "What are you watching at the moment?" And he goes, "Oh, I watch everything." And I was like, "But what are you watching right now?" And he said, Jeannie and Georgia.
Hmm.
Apparently it's a show about like a struggling teen mother.
Damn.
And I was like, how deep are you into that? And he's like, oh, 3 seasons.
Whoa. Is it like a spinoff from Teen Mom?
Possibly. Which I did. I used to love. Kind of my first like sort of exposure to America
It's a great.
was the
that's a great,
MTV shows.
It's a great gateway to Americans.
Yeah.
Teen Mom,
Teen Mom was great. Room Raiders was amazing.
Room Raiders,
Next was great.
Maid.
What's Maid?
You never seen
I
Maid?
don't think I've seen Maid.
Do you know Maid?
No.
They would like a kid that would be like, oh, I want to be this, and then someone, an authority from that field comes and like turns you into that and sees if you have what it takes, and they put you through the ringer of like waking you up early in the morning. The only one that comes to my mind now is there's this kid that wanted to be a rapper. That's why I was like, hell yeah, brother. And
Unreal.
have you ever heard of Homeboy Sandman?
No.
He's like, why'd you giggle? He's a listener of the podcast.
Homeboy Sandman?
Yeah, he's actually kind of like an underground legend, but like very underground. And I wasn't saying that to be a jerk, but he.
Understand.
Come on, man.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Come on.
Sorry, Homeboy Sandman. I mean, no disrespect.
It does sound kind of like offensive. Homeboy
Well, yeah.
Sandman.
Yeah, well, when you said have you heard of Homeboy Sandman, and you're like, why'd you giggle? Why do you think?
Cornhole-
Look at all the Homeboy Sandman talk. I don't want him on my line.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't have a phone.
That's true. I don't think he has a phone, actually. He's one of those guys that is like, yeah, no, I just stay away from all that technology. And he like lives in Iceland now or some shit.
Classic Sandman shit. The
Classic.
Sandman has to live in Iceland.
The Sandman in Iceland with the Stone Man.
Yep.
Uh,
Full circle, baby.
But he came to like this kid's high school. Like they always make it dramatic where they show up to the high school during lunch, so everyone in the school sees like, all right, this week we're gonna see if this kid actually has what it takes. He says he wants to be a marine biologist.
Just prime you for right bullying when you come back and
exactly.
you failed.
Exactly. It's always like the nerdiest kid, and they're like, so how do you guys feel? They would interview the classmates. How do you feel? And they're like, no one likes that kid. Do you think he could do it?
Jesus.
Not really.
That's
and then it's like,
devastating.
yeah. Then every morning he's like, the guy's waking you up, like, come on, you said you wanted to be a rapper. You know, rappers wake up at 6 a.m. Yeah.
Smoke
good.
that weed right now. Drink that lean. You want to make it?
Let's see. It's already noon, and you've said nothing negative about your baby mama. So, do you want to make it in this business or not?
Comes back to class, AP biology, face tattoo.
That's another good sketch. Is like you just completely turn someone into. That's the thing. It's kind of a shitty show because you just turn someone into someone they're not.
Yeah. Well, essentially, it's I guess it's trying to teach them like, what you think you want might not be what you actually want.
True. Maybe it's good.
Yeah. Teaching the kids.
You know what also kind of has that theme? The movie Grease.
I love Grease.
But isn't it crazy that they just completely change their personalities?
That's how dating works.
I guess, but it's just a little more extreme because they wear the uniform too. But girls do try to change their outfits.
Yeah. You can't 100% be yourself on the first date. Nobody can.
Yeah.
I can convey the most like sort of like, you know, what you see is what you're gonna get here. But I can't be 100% myself.
If anyone was 100% themselves on a first date, everyone would be single
Yes.
and no one would be married.
Yes.
Because it would be like rude.
Yes. Well, because I would be like, if I was 100% being myself and talk about what I wanted to talk about, I'd be like, so what do you think about The Undertaker losing his wrestling match with Brock Lesnar? It's kind of fucked up, right?
Yeah, probably going to have 12 beers and then talk to you about Tyler, the Creator.
Honestly, ideal first date.
Amazing segue. I have a 7-minute video of you and Michael performing Chromacopia at Ernie's.
Oh,
that
God.
I don't know if you remember.
Burn
that
it.
thing. No. We're putting it right here.
Jamie, can you pull that up, please?
No, it was so funny. Me and Gaddis went to see Chromacopia in Dublin.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
He said to me, he was like, I wish I had anything in my life that makes me as happy as that makes
Yeah.
you. He's like, I've never seen anything like it. Because I just go nuts.
Yeah.
And then I went to Gov Ball. I went to Gov Ball the other day.
Oh, you did go to Gut Bell?
Yeah, I went to see
Gov Ball?
Tyler did the Friday.
So you saw Tyler 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And then you saw him last week?
Yeah, but to see it another 5 times.
Is he going to file a restraining order?
He might. He honestly might at this point. But at Gov Ball, what no one told me is, because I was just like, oh, cool, this is New York's music festival, whatever. So young.
I thought that was all music festivals.
No, I've never felt this way before.
Really?
Like, I literally felt like a pedophile.
Mm. You want to expand on that?
I walked in there and was like, is there anyone here above 25?
And then they said no, and you're like, perfect. My kind of party. I'm the old drunk guy at the bar.
Chris Hansen walks out. What are you doing here? Oh, you like Tyler the Creator, huh?
Yeah, you're going to meet your creator tonight. But how was the show?
The show was amazing. The show was so good. It's funny because he'll do this thing where like he has like a B stage, so he'll go across to the B stage, and then he's got like a box of vinyl, and he's flicking through the vinyls, and it's like a couple of like artists that he really likes, but then his albums,
Oh, that's cool.
and you just hear the pop for like, you know, his albums. Takes out the record, plays it, starts doing his old stuff.
Oh,
Very
that's
fun way
cool.
to go back in the discography.
So you see what album he's going to play.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But I was going nuts.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just so weird to have seen him like
You were finger clapping in that video.
I was finger clapping. 2012 I saw him in Dublin at the Academy, and it was like a real small show. And that now he's doing like 2 nights in the 3 Arena.
That's crazy.
Just mad.
That's awesome to get to see someone you love grow that much.
Oh my God. Yeah. I've literally grew up on his music.
And then now, so the young people, like really young kids love him too.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's an interesting thing as well, where it's like, it's cool that he's reaching all these generations, but when it's someone you love and you see like younger people, you're like, I don't want to watch a concert with you. Like, get out of here, scram.
It was my nephew's first concert.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
Because that's like you kind of, I assume you showed him Tyler Creator.
Yeah.
And then that's great.
And like all his mates and all were there.
Ah, nice.
And he's like at that age where he's like, Jack the lad.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
he's with his mum. He's like embarrassed over her.
That's what you ever look back at when you were that age and you're like, why was I so embarrassed for having a mom?
Oh yeah. Crazy. Like if I was a parent, I would be so pissed off.
Yeah.
Because you do go through that, like, say, like, maybe 13 to probably honestly about 17, 18, where you're like properly embarrassed of your parents.
Yeah, they're literally coming to pick you up from school and you're like,
Yeah.
get away.
I said the meanest things to my parents at that age.
Mm,
I was such a wee shit.
yeah. Yeah, I remember being embarrassed. And it's like, I guess as a kid, you're only cool if you're an orphan. Like,
Yeah.
You can't have parents if you want to be cool.
I was so dramatic. Like some of the things that I would come out with, just so dramatic.
Yeah. What would you say?
Well, I was like a wee emo lad,
Oh, yeah, I forgot you had an emo
Yeah, I
stage.
had a wee emo phase. Still in there.
I know.
You know what I mean?
You went to the punk concert.
I hear the right song. I hear the Black Parade. Shutting it down.
That's what it was in my neighborhood. Okay. We did cornhole and Black Parade. We might have to take everything out.
That's great.
I like the idea of you having an emo phase and then you get pickpocketed and you're like, all right, that's over. That's done.
100%. No, I do like, I just like, I like music that makes me feel something,
I get that. Black Parade, is that the father of mine? Tell me, where have you been?
No, it's the one where it's like,
You knew that one.
wait, what was what's that?
Wow.
What one was that?
I think that's Black Parade.
No, Black
Wait, is
Parade's
Black Parade-
like, when I was.
Oh, yeah. Do you know that one?
No, I have a dad, but yeah.
Damn. Wow. Well, that's why you don't. That's why you could have never created that cornhole game that I did. All right, that one's coming out. That one. All right. Okay. Let's. For old time's sake, guilty conscious. Do you have something you're feeling guilty about right now? Maybe one of those things that you said to your parents when you were a teenager. Did that just spark up some guilt?
Something I'm feeling guilty about right now.
I gotta be honest. I've been getting a little bit better with my guilt, like not feeling like worthless for everything.
Fucking comes in wearing the shirt of my enemies. He has no guilt on his conscience whatsoever.
That was a good bit.
It was a good bit.
That was a good bit.
It was a good bit.
I'm trying to think of anything I feel guilty about. Oh, I felt guilt to the point of like change this week. I tidied my room.
Like you felt guilty that your room was.
It was
disgusting.
embarrassing. Like I didn't want anyone to see it. I knew it was a problem whenever someone like asked to see it, and I was like, no, you can't.
You were cockblocking yourself because of
can't
a
do
mess in
that.
your room.
No, it was a guy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes, and it sucks that does work too. Like you clean your room and then you just feel better.
I literally feel like a new man
A new man, McCann.
because after the breakup, I didn't clean it for a while, and then I had a friend step in and be like, "This is sad.
Yeah.
I have to get rid of all these like photo booth pictures, all this stuff." And then good thing they did it. They
That is
fucking
good.
put everything in the bin for me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I kind of like still didn't want to like properly clean it, and I feel like now that I've cleaned it, I'm like, this is we're totally done here now.
Yeah,
This
new
is a
chapter.
new chapter in life.
Yeah, because she was the filth that you had
Yeah.
to get rid of.
Yeah, lost the phone,
Yes.
cleaned the room.
Yes.
I basically been in a sensory deprivation tank for a week.
And then when you lost the sobriety, that's when you really
Yes.
got rid of her.
Can you imagine if I was still sober?
Oh,
no,
man.
no, I couldn't.
No, yeah.
All of our friendships would have suffered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We wouldn't be as close.
no.
We would maybe at most get like a coffee here and there.
We would just meet up at OK Cafe. We would maybe do spots together or whatever. But it would just restrict the,
It would be similar to when you go to Ireland for an extended time period. We're like, yeah, we text sometimes, but
yeah.
not really hanging out.
Yeah.
And, what were you saying before about AA Ron. I was like, hey Aaron, have you ever you should play with the thing of you have 2 A's in your name and you should be an AA. And then he was like, what'd you say?
Because you said they say that in AA meetings where they go AA.
No, I didn't say that. But that would
Oh, I just said that?
No, I think you thought I said that and you were like, is that what they do?
Oh yeah, because he was like, yeah, you go like, I'm AA Aaron. And like you're in an AA meeting. And I was like, wait, did they do that? Did they go like AA Live? And I was like they're in the ASAP mob.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's your boy AA Steve. Lost custody of my kids.
There was weirdly a phase in Ireland, well, amongst people that I knew, where they would literally put the ASAP thing in front of their name.
Yeah.
But it was like Irish names, so it was like ASAP Tiernan.
That's great.
ASAP Podrick.
ASAP Seamus. That's great. Did you guys ever have any other like acronyms? Like I know in New York it was kind of like a gangster thing to be like, it's TYB, take your bitch. So people
would say that?
They would put that in their Instagram names. It would be like,
That's crazy.
it's TYB Steve.
Any guy that at that time period would refer to himself as like, take your bitch, I'm sure I would be very secure in the fact that they wouldn't.
Half of them are gay now.
That's what happened. Yeah. Take your sexuality.
Now it's take your man. Oh, bad.
Easier task.
Take your man?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Guys can be taken at any time.
Yeah.
You're about to be taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I'm sorry. I have to pee so bad. I couldn't even think of a way to end it.
That's okay.
This will be on
Maybe it doesn't need to end.
That's fantastic. That'd be great. Can we just do like, what's the longest podcast ever?
I don't know. I'm not Jamie, man. I'm not looking this shit up.
Wow. Well, to be fair, when you were on the first episode, I established the ground rules of this podcast where I'm like, don't ever let me just say, hey, pull that up, bitch.
That's true.
And then that's
true.
full circle. That was the first thing I said on the first episode
Yep.
that you were on. And now the last thing of this episode is me being like, hey, look that up. And you were like, I'm not Jamie.
Yep.
Isn't it fascinating how you looked for an end and it just magically appeared?
Well, I can't wait to show you this cornucopia video. I have it pulled up already.
What's your
I've
body
never
count?
watched it also.
4.
Hell yeah.
4 vixens.
Oh, man, buddy. I got good news for you. There's a lot more where that came from.
Wait, should we do first impressions before we go?
Sure.
Let's do it. What's another impression? You did Tyler last time.
I really can't do impressions.
Yeah, you.
But I
can.
can
I've heard you do good impressions.
I can do Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, do Stone Cold Steve Austin at Vixens of Maspeth.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I went down to Vixens, Mass Path. Not 1 vixen. What? 2 vixens. What? 3 vixens. There's 7 vixens on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin's 316 says I just fucked a vixen.
Let's go!
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, give me one. And then we'll get out of here. I got a piece of
Okay. Well, fuck, I said mine. You say yours, then I'll give you the scenario.
Okay. I'll do a Maniscalco. Sebastian Maniscalco.
Okay, so you get asked to go to the black family's house, but you're Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh, yes.
You expect me to go over there at 3 a.m. in South Carolina? You know what my father would do if he saw a random guy walking up to his porch asking for booze? He would say, get a job.
Beautiful.
That's great.
That's the episode. Thanks for
That
coming
was
back,
really
man.
good.
Thanks for coming back. And
Oh,
I
of
avoided,
course.
honestly, it's probably not a realistic impression of Sebastian because he's Italian, so he would have been very racist in that situation. Thank you for coming, man.
Of course, anytime.
Aaron McCann, follow him. You probably already do. McCann Comedy.
Can I be the first three-peat guest?
Let's just do another one right now.
Okay, I'll see you next time.
Hell yeah.